Hi there, it's Ryan G. Wright with DoHardMoney.com. And the question of the day today is, what are some examples of marketing strategies in real estate? And so there's basically two different schools of thought. One school of thought is just broad base. I'm just going to try and put out there and hope people end up calling me. The other one is targeted, kind of like a sniper approach. So broad base is going to be like wearing an I Buy Houses t-shirts around, or it could be putting a sign on your car. With that, an I Buy Houses sign on your car, with that, you're waiting on somebody else approaching you, and you're hoping somebody will come and approach you. I see a lot of people do this, especially if they're just getting started in real estate. It's super cool to do. Keep doing it. However, it may take years or decades before you actually find somebody that wants to sell you a house from one of your signs or one of your shirts. It may happen tomorrow as well, right? But it's unpredictable results because you're just broad-based. You're waiting for someone to approach you rather than you approaching somebody else. And so you've got to be targeted marketing in addition to some of those broad-based. So don't bank on the broad-based. You can do them, and it can help increase your statistical probabilities, but it's not going to be predictable. So with targeted marketing, what you're going to be doing is going after people that have the ability to sell you a house. And one of the first things is they've got to have equity. And the second thing is they have to have motivation. Now, as we talk about equity, what you can do is if they owe $150,000 on the house and you can only pay $120 for it, you're wasting your time going after that person. So if I'm a sniper, if I'm a real estate sniper, I want to do a targeted approach. And so there's two ways to determine how much equity somebody has in the property. You can pull up all the comps, which for me takes about 30 minutes to sometimes 90 minutes to pull the comps to establish what I think a real good value is on this property. Well, frankly, that takes too long because I don't even know if these guys are going to want to sell me the house. So I use what's called an AVM, an automated value management system. And this is something banks do. So if you've ever refinanced your property and you have some equity in your home, the bank may say no appraisal required. And the reason is because you have good enough credit scores, and they do what's called an AVM, which is a computer value management system, an automatic value management system that says the house is worth X. And what they find statistically when they're a big bank and they're dealing with billions of dollars, that they find that that's accurate enough of the time that their loss ratio is low enough that they're in good shape. And if you've got good credit, they say, hey, it's probably a low chance that this guy's going to default anyway, and you have some equity, we're going to go ahead and just use this AVM. Well, if big banks are willing to use this AVM, I'm willing to use this AVM to spend 50 cents to send somebody a postcard. So that's what I do. I use the AVM. And then what I do is I look at how much is owed. And the way I calculate this is I figure out how much they got their loan for. So if they got their loan 10 years ago for $100,000, then what I do is I say, what was the interest rate 10 years ago, the average interest rate? And then I do what's called a reverse amortization, which basically when you get a loan, it's an amortization schedule. So each month, some of the money goes towards principal and some of the money goes towards interest. So I basically say if they've made all their payments, how much would have gone towards principal? And each payment you make, more goes towards principal than goes towards interest. So early on, most of the payment goes towards interest. In year 30, most of the payment goes towards principal. And so I just put a little computer system together that tells me what was the average interest rate and how much they approximately owe. And you can put those two together. So we use Investors Edge software, our software, and it basically says, hey, this is how much equity is in the property based upon the AVM and based upon the amortization. Bing, 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 bing. That's the first step in this. Now I'm getting targeted. I'm getting very strategic. Now I am actually being a sniper. Now I've got somebody that I know has the ability to sell me the property, that has equity in the property that I could buy it. But that doesn't mean they want to. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of equity in the property, but they may not be motivated to sell. So how do I find motivation? Well, that's when I do a couple of other searches, and so I mash these searches together. I look at vacant homes, I look at out-of-state owners, I look at non-owner occupied, I look at bankruptcy, I look at divorce records. And so I take those records, which are all public information, by the way, and I mash up those public records with the equity, and now I've got a very targeted sniper list. They're on my equity list and they're on my motivated sellers list. I mash the two of those together. Then I can do a few things. I can do some drive-by. I can knock on their doors. I can send postcards. I can do skip trace and get their phone numbers and I can call them. I can do voice broadcasts. And all those things have been made very easy through Investors Edge software. You can check it out over at DoHardMoney.com. The other thing we've put together is your next deal blueprint. It's super cool. What it actually does is it tells you what you need to do each week to get a property within a certain time frame. So you can put how much money you have to do marketing with. You can put how much time you have. You can put different activities. Maybe you want to make make calls, maybe you don't want to make calls, maybe you want to do voice broadcasts. You can put those things together, and it basically gives you weekly homework assignments of exactly what you have to do every single week to end up with a property within the time frame that you choose. And this is all statistics, so the probability is you'll get it. May take a little longer, may happen a little bit faster, but it gives you a blueprint to follow that you know if you follow that and continue to follow it, that success will eventually come. And that's what that's put together. Check us out over at dohardmoney.com and make it a very profitable day.